Court is back in session.
Did you get the message in the orphan guy?
I am not even back to talk to that later.
Okay.
We were arrested for, change that to the record. You got, Julie Ray.
Oh, he's flat out.
Lost into that. That's a
You know when you get Davidson County in Portland. It's a son of it was his car, and he had heard anything. Anybody who was not anything. Oh, okay. Yeah. So that would be around all choices.
6 more weeks of that.
6 more weeks to win. This is what we got to look forward to tonight, next week. Oh, well. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fix you, please. Good morning, members of the jury. Good morning. Yes, with this kind of weather, might as well just be here and do a lot of work, right? Not work being outside doing anything. Defense ready to proceed with the...
Yes, we are.
Okay.
We called Dr. Mary Elizabeth Wood back in stand.
All right.
You would raise your right hand to be sworn in.
You solemnly swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Are you going to lift the weight of the stand watch
Good morning, Dr. Wood.
Good morning.
Yesterday, when you testified, I believe you referenced that you had been supplied some YouTube videos that you reviewed as part of your evaluation in this case. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Was one of those YouTube videos entitled "Somebody Broke Into My Apartment"?
Yes,
And did you review that?
I did.
Your Honor, at this time, I would like to play that YouTube video.
All right. You may.
Alright, so I just got back from Starbucks, I had run up in my truck because I wanted to test my truck out, I found what was making the rattling noise inside of the wheel, and I took off the hubcap earlier, and there's this metal piece in there that protects the axle bolt or something, so it had jiggled off or something, supposedly. So I took a wrench, and I beat it back on there so it was tight again, and I put the hubcap back on. And since then, it hasn't been making any noise. But I went to Starbucks, and I got a Starbucks thing, and I come back to the apartment here. And then that's the thing, is these people just magically show up, and it's an art of deception. They're doing this for some reason, because it hasn't been the first time. So for some reason, my cousin Chris just happens to show up here while I'm outside. You know, the off chance that I'm outside just when he decides to pull up. You know, I'm looking at my truck. You know, I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do to my truck, you know, in the future. I want to black some stuff out on it. I want to change the running boards, you know, black the running boards out. I'm going to get under it, repaint the underbody, you know, put underbody coating on the underside of it. I need to redo the rocker panels and everything like that. And so I'm talking about all the stuff I want to do to my truck. And then Chris pulls up, you know, my cousin Chris, and I'd gone down to his place the other day, you know, to see him. And so it's like, well, that's weird, you know, that this guy just happens to show up here, you know, and he said he had been out voting with some people someplace or something like that. So I don't know how he would have known that I went there, you know, or anything like that. But anyway, that's coincidence. I'll just write that off as coincidence. So anyway, I started talking to Chris, you know, and, you know, he asked me how it's going and everything like that. And I said, oh, you know, it's going all right, you know. I mean, there's just some strange things that have been happening. And then I talked to him about my truck and everything, and he asked questions about the truck, and I talked to him about, you know, his life and how's it going and how it feels to be out of the Marines and everything like that. But then when I started talking to him about, you know, what had been going on about this internet stuff, you know, and how my parents, like, had me taken to a mental institution for looking for Taylor Swift. Because a long time ago, I was like, I had read some stuff on the internet, and it made me think that she was uptown. So I was like, I'll just go look uptown and see if she's up there, you know? And I asked my mom to go with me, because I was like, I don't want to be bored just, like, playing this game, you know? So I'll have someone go with me, and they can help me, you know, find this person, you know? And so I asked my mom to go, and next thing I know, we're out front of CVS, and the police are pulling up. This guy comes out from ERS, the police pull up, you know, and I'm being arrested and everything, you know, and so I tell Chris about that whole story, you know, and then he doesn't ask a single question. And if you knew this guy, I mean, he's my cousin, so I've known him since we were little, you know, and so it's like, if you knew who Chris was, Chris would ask questions about what had been going on. He didn't ask a single question about the internet hacking, you know, which is really strange for this person, you know. If you knew this person, that's the thing, is he asks questions about everything else, because Chris is just a curious guy, you know. But then when it came to the internet stuff, he didn't say one thing. He didn't ask one question, which is suspicious. And then I come back up to my apartment, and this is why I'm angry right now. I come back up to my apartment, you know, and this is on my dad's property. My dad owns this property, you know, but this is where I reside. You know, this is where all my stuff is. My stuff's all right here. You know, so this is my living quarters. This is where I live. This is where I reside. No one can come in here. The door is locked. There's nothing saying anyone can come in here. And so, anyway, I come in here. I come into my bathroom, and I notice in my bathroom that the toilet seat is up. The toilet seat is up on my toilet. And so, like, I have, like, really, really high, spatial awareness. Like, I took a test at the community college in my area, and I can either find it if I have the results here still, or I can go to the community college and get the results, because I took a test there, a placement test, and I scored 99 percentile, you know, on this test that they had for spatial awareness. And they said it was the second highest testing that they'd ever seen for that at that school, when 18,000 people go there per year, you know, per semester. And so it's a really high score. And like, I haven't put my toilet seat up. I know for a fact that this toilet seat was down. I know for a fact that the toilet seat was down. I never put my toilet seat up because I don't like it messing up my toilet. If you stand up and you piss into your toilet, water splashes and the stuff goes everywhere, you know, it makes a mess. So I always leave the seat down. I always sit down to pee or do anything. I never lift my toilet seat up. And yet this is what's happened. And then before, you know, I've come in here and the door will be cracked like that. You know, it's not all the way shut, it's not all the way open. I always leave it all the way open, or I leave it all the way shut. I never leave it cracked open. I never do that. And I know for a fact, you know, that I didn't leave it that way. So somebody has been coming in here. And then, like I said to my dad the other day, there was fingerprints on the sides of my laptop. There's fingerprints on the sides. I never opened the lid that way. When I open the lid of my laptop, I always grab it here and open it, you know? And then if I carry it like this, you know, from the bottom. My fingers are never like that. I always carry it like this. But somebody did, because there's fingerprints, 4 fingerprints across the top of the lid like that. Then I open up, so that's suspicious, you know. I think that's suspicious that I see these fingerprints on there. Then I open the lid of my computer. You know, I type in my passwords and everything because it's password protected. No one can be on this. This is my password stuff. I type in my passwords and everything. And that's the thing, is like I keep long passwords that no one can crack, you know, that I know of. And then I keep them in a file here. So someone would have had to go on to the file, got my passwords, then got my computer, got on my computer, and then I see that there's been files that have been manipulated on my computer. One of the file names had been shortened probably by accident. They probably highlighted some of it and then deleted some of it because it was like half of it was there now. And I didn't do it. I don't think that I did it, you know, because I don't do stuff like that. And if I did, I would have noticed. But then, so then there's these notes. That was in my notes, you know, the notes that I keep, my journals that I keep on my computer. It's labeled under journals. And I keep these notes in there, you know, to keep track of all this stuff that's been happening to me. So I go into these entries, you know, and one of them's been modified, and then I try to find another journal that talks about my dad or something like that, another entry, and the entry's gone. Like I can't find the certain entry that I wrote one time when I was out in Colorado. It just happens to disappear, you know, like it's gone or got deleted or whatever. You know, it's like, why is somebody coming in my apartment and doing this stuff? You know, this is illegal. Why is somebody getting on my private property like that? Why is someone going to my bathroom? And that's the thing, is I know for a fact that I never lift the toilet seat. I never put the toilet seat up. I never do that. It's always down. I mean, yeah, okay, maybe once in a while, you know, if I've been drinking or something like that, I don't know, you know, maybe I'll lift it up then, you know, just because I don't know why. But I know for a fact, before I left here today, just to go to Starbucks, that was down. And the reason I know that is because I peed right before I left. And I sat down. I didn't ever do that. Somebody came in here and did that. And so it aggravates me to no end that these people are doing this stuff, you know. This is my private space. No one's allowed in here. You know, and that's the crazy thing, is they think that they can do this. And, oh wow, I don't even know where to begin with all this stuff. Because then I watch these videos, you know, on YouTube about, oh, you know, some Julia Roberts person or something, some psychopath like breaks into her house and she's hiding in her closet because she's afraid of like this person that's doing this stuff. And it's like, look at these people. They're afraid, and yet they expect me not to be. Like, look, they're coming in here, they're doing this stuff in my apartment, and then I'm not supposed to be scared? Like, oh, I'm just supposed to accept that this happens? This is insane. These people are insane. I want this to stop. This is ridiculous. And I'm tired of getting worked up, and I don't know why I have to be mean to people or call people names in order to get them to fuck off. You know, that's the only word I can use is like, look, I don't want you around anymore. I never did. Like, I didn't ever ask anybody into my apartment. I've never done that. I don't want them anywhere near here. And, dude, this is criminal. I mean, this whole thing is criminal, what these people are doing to me. And then they blow it off like it's just some game and I'm just supposed to be okay with it when they're not even okay with this stuff. It's stupid. You know, it's probably because, you know, it's Taylor Swift, you know, she wants to pretend like she's a dude, she's a transvestite or whatever. I don't care. Like, if that's what she wants to do, that's what I said earlier, you know. Put on a pair of pants then, or whatever you want to wear, you know, put on boy clothes, you know, get on the internet and tell everyone you're a fucking guy then. Do that, you know, I don't care. Whatever you want to do. It's not my problem. Why are these people breaking into my apartment, you know, flipping the toilet seat up like there's some guy in here using it? Like, stop doing that. If you want to tell people about that, then go tell them, you know. Go publicize it yourself. What the fuck? Why are you doing this to me? It's so dumb. And that's the whole thing, is they keep pushing this stuff on me, like, oh, this gayness or like transsexual stuff, and it's like, what the fuck, you know, none of this makes sense. None of this sticks to me, and they don't see that. Like, no, like, I am not that, you know, if she's that, that's fine, but stop projecting your garbage onto me. You know, accept what you are. If you want to be a dude, if you want to leave the toilet seat up, then do that, you know? If you want to be a dude and you want to leave the toilet seat up, then do that in your own fucking apartment. Dress like a man or whatever on your own fucking time. Go dress like a guy wherever you fucking go or whatever, you know? And tell people that if you want to tell them that. But don't be doing this shit to me. This shit's fucking crazy. And it's like, okay, yeah, two, that's the thing, is there these sexist people, you know? I saw this thing the other day when I was going through Pekin, and it was like, silly boys, you know, girls drive big trucks. And it was right after I bought my truck, you know, so is that a coincidence? I don't know. These people just come up with these bumper stickers just to annoy me. You know, like I said, I think part of the community is doing this, so I won't be surprised if someone went out, slapped this bumper sticker on their truck to try to make me feel that way, you know? But like, that's insane. These people are psychopaths, and they're insane. And you know what? Like, trucks aren't just for boys or girls, okay? Silly boys, trucks are for girls. No, they're not. They're for everyone. Trucks are for everyone, retard, okay? This is stupid. This is sexist, and it's wrong to be that way. And secondly, if you want to be a guy, that's fine, okay? You want to be a guy, you want to pretend to be a guy or whatever, then do that. But when you come into my apartment and do this shit, okay, for one, guys aren't criminals. All guys are not criminals, you feminist Nazi. And when you come in here and do this stuff, that just tells me you're a fucking criminal, that you believe guys are criminals, and that's wrong. Like, all guys aren't criminals, you know? And I don't like you because of the way you portray men. You're sick. I don't want anything to do with people like that.
Your Honor, I move the video as evidence.
All right.
And I'll have to supply a thumb drive with just that single video. That's all I have.
Remember, the jury, let me explain something to you very clearly. That thumb drive on that video that you just saw was introduced to give you insight and some understanding of the type of information relied upon by Dr. Wood to form her opinions. You can only consider it for that purpose as to whether or not it's the type of information that she, give it what weight you want to in terms of how she utilized it to form her opinions. You cannot independently look at that video and make any substantive decisions as to his mental state, Mr. Reinking's mental state, the truth of what he was talking about, or anything else. It is solely limited as to whether or not it was valid information, or whether or not it was valid information. Give it what weight you want in terms of Dr. Wood's use of it in forming the opinions that she did. All right? All right.
You want to ask some questions?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to clarify that before we went any further.
Dr. Wood, the video that we just observed, that behavior is consistent with schizophrenia.
It can be, yes.
It can be?
Yes, that paranoia, that fast rate of speech, the inaccurate interpretations of things, yes.
Okay. So it's consistent with individuals just have schizophrenia. That's just normal behavior for a schizophrenic.
It can be, yes.
Okay. And I think we've established that most schizophrenics are not out committing mass murder, right?
Yes, I would agree.
Okay. And the behavior that we observed, it seemed, according to his own recount, the defendant was saying that those things made him angry.
Yes, he did say that.
Right. Okay. He didn't say in that video it made him afraid. Just said, I'm angry.
I think at one point he did say he was afraid. Maybe I'm misremembering, but...
Right. Well, maybe. He talked about, and Do you recall when this video was shot?
I was told it was August or September of 2017.
Okay. And just so we're clear, it's not abnormal for an individual, just any person, to post videos of themselves direct to camera on YouTube or social media, right? That's a normal thing.
I understand a lot of people do that, yes.
And not all of them have schizophrenia.
No.
And not all of them go out and commit mass murder.
Very few people do.
Right, okay. And so this video, you said you were told was shot between August and September of 2017?
Correct.
All right. And his chief concerns in the video appear to be that the toilet seat was left up.
He was concerned that someone had clearly been in his apartment, which was evidenced by the toilet seat being left up, the fingerprints on the laptop.
And a
And the door.
password folder being moved.
I don't believe that was mentioned. I think it was the fingerprints on the laptop.
He mentioned a folder.
I don't recall that in
Okay.
that video we just watched.
When you spoke to him in May of 2018, the concerns that he told you that continued at that time were toilet seat, password folder, things like that.
Yeah, at that night, there was a smell in the apartment, and that was when he mentioned the password folder or some document from his computer. Yes.
Right. So the same kinds of concerns.
Similar concerns. Yes.
All right. Not an escalation of concerns. The same kinds of concerns.
They were similar concerns. Correct.
All right. Okay. He also, and there was a point in the video where he says, "I never leave the toilet seat up." And there was a long pause. He says, "Well, unless I've been drinking." When you talked to him, there was a concern that he had an alcohol abuse disorder, right?
Yes, he has a history of drinking heavily.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you discuss with him whether or not he was drinking on the night of April 22nd, 2018?
I believe I did. Yes.
Okay. And did you clearly verify that he had not been drinking?
I mean, by asking him, yes.
So, but you didn't review any records which may have confirmed or I guess either way that he wasn't drinking that night.
To my knowledge, there was no record of that. There was no testing that was completed.
Well, there was testimony in this trial that there was a blood draw taken the day after he was arrested.
That was never provided to me.
Well, it was provided at the very least in the testimony within this trial.
Correct.
Okay, so you didn't go and verify to look at the blood draw to see if maybe he had been drinking.
I did not know there was one.
There was also records that you reviewed that showed that he had elevated liver enzymes.
Correct. That was mentioned in his records.
Okay, and elevated liver enzymes could be consistent with somebody who has been drinking alcohol.
It could be.
Okay, so he had to be treated for that, right?
I don't know.
That was within your report. Those are the records that you said you reviewed.
Yes, that was mentioned in the report.
And
yes.
you noted it in your report that he had to be treated for elevated liver enzymes.
I don't know what the treatment for that is.
Well, okay, so the point is, he told you that he had a history of drinking heavily, right?
Correct.
He told you reviewed video which he's clearly showing that he drinks heavily, right? Such that he's leaving the toilet seat up and things like that. And then he received treatment which could be consistent with someone who has alcohol, who has been drinking heavily, and you didn't go and try to review or confirm one way or another whether or not he was actually drunk on the night of April 22nd, 2018.
I do try to confirm those things by requesting information from a variety of sources, which I would assume if that was accessible to either the defense or the prosecution, it would have been provided to me.
But as you sit on the witness stand here today, you cannot tell this jury one way or the other whether for sure Travis Reinking was drunk or had been drinking on the night of April 22nd, 2018.
I cannot verify that, no.
He also mentioned that he had some issues with being considered gay or transsexual.
He did talk about that in the video, yes.
That was something that bothered him, the fact that he might be considered gay or transsexual.
Yeah, it sounded as though other people might imply that, and that was upsetting to him.
And in fact, one of the things that he was initially, when he presented after being arrested at the sheriff's office, one of the things they discussed with him was whether or not he had a sexual sadism disorder, an exhibitionistic disorder, and transvestic disorder. They called those the rule out diagnoses.
You're talking about the jail records here in Davidson County?
Yes.
Yes, they did mention those.
So there was some concern by someone who that he may have a psychological disorders associated with being a transsexual, being an exhibitionist, and having sexual sadism.
Yes, that was a concern, but my opinion is that was a misinterpretation of prior events.
Okay, but what is sexual sadism?
Usually when we talk about sexual sadism, masochism, it's sexual pleasure by inflicting or experiencing pain.
Inflicting pain on others.
Yes.
Okay, and exhibitionistic disorder.
That was referring to sort of getting pleasure out of exposing oneself to other people.
So being naked in front of other people.
Correct.
Okay, and transvestic disorder.
I'm not quite familiar with that term. I assume that's referring to potentially he was grappling with being transgender, but I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, and it sounds like being considered transgender made him very angry or bothered.
Potentially. I think that what the concern was in his records there were times where he was grappling with his sexuality, and I think that in that video it talked about Taylor Swift potentially posing as a man, and he seemed to suggest that other people were suggesting that of him.
Okay, and just to put a complete button on this, you said sexual sadism disorder is one where you derive pleasure from causing pain to others.
Correct.
April 22nd, Travis Reinking killed 4 people, maimed 2 others, and shot and injured 2 others, right? He caused considerable pain on that day.
That is my understanding, yes.
All right. And exhibitionistic disorder, which you have testified, is someone who enjoys showing their nude body to others, right? On April 22nd, 2018, he exposed himself to others as he was causing significant pain to them. Is that right?
Correct. He was virtually naked at the time of the offense.
Those are my questions. Thank you.
Dr. Wood, you said earlier, I think just on this question, that the state had opportunity to provide you with whatever they wanted to provide you with, and they did provide you with certain information. Isn't that correct?
They did, yes.
And you heard earlier, you heard like a question that at some point in this trial there was evidence of a urine screen taken from Mr. Reinking shortly after his arrest. You recall that?
He did mention that, yes.
Okay. During the past 4 years, at any point in time, has the state ever provided you those test results that would indicate whether or not there was alcohol in the system on around April 22nd, 2018?
I have never seen those, no.
Anything else?
What's that?
Any further?
And Dr. Wood, you did receive records from the Davidson County Sheriff's Office, which included how he was treated.
Your Honor, that's not the screening.
Well,
The Davidson County Sheriff's
Hold
Office.
on, let me finish the question. Don't answer it until we get the objection.
which would include certain records related to his treatment, medical treatment while he was in custody. Did you not?
We received his.
Hold on.
The Davidson County.
Your Honor, this is testimony.
Let's have one attorney at a time and let that attorney finish, and then I'll allow you to say anything you want. We're not gonna get into an argument.
The issue came up about a urine screen that was taken to the Harry Hospital. The question on redirect was, have you ever been provided that urine screen from the Harry Hospital? No. Going to any other medical treatment is outside the scope of that redirect and improper.
Now you may respond.
And Your Honor, I'm simply saying that she received records that included his mental.
Your Honor, he's testifying.
Dude, that's literally what you just did.
Wait, just, Mr. Brennan, please let him finish now. I'll teach y'all how to debate later on, but right now I want to hear from one lawyer at a time.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Judge.
Okay? So, it is your turn, Mr. Gowdy.
I think it's fair for me to ask Dr. Wood. Actually, I think at this point it's clear that what records she's received and had the opportunity to receive. So
Thank you.
yes.
Anything else?
No, sir.
I think you're allowed to go this time.
Okay, thank you.
All right? Head for the woods. All right. Call your next witness.
Your Honor, the defense will call Dr. Raina Eisen.